There, don't get me wrong, there's so many times where I thought I will never go live again. Like I'm just gonna throw up the towel. I'm gonna either gonna go, go to school or, find a new trade, find another, desk job or something like that. There were so many times where I was like, I could not be doing this anymore. Like I could be done. But then I think about like those chatters that come in every once in a while being like, "Hey, I've been having such a bad day. Thank you for being live tonight." And I am going to be here till I'm 80 years old because of people like that.
Well, welcome to Conversations. I am your host, Hannah Villani, and today we have a very special guest. I say that every guest is special, and it's true, because every single one is. But this one in particular, I've known for, gosh, a very, very, very long time. And she is a very fascinating and incredible person. She's a professional Twitch gamer. And so she has found her way in this world in an unconventional way and uses that as a platform for more than just making an income, but also to advocate for really important topics such as mental health and just connection and, looking out for the little guy. And I think that now more than ever, conversations with people like that are more important than ever. And so I'm really excited to bring Megan on the show. So welcome.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. I'm super excited you asked me.
Yeah, this is so cool. Admittedly, I'm not like usually a person that does like the Twitch stuff, but my kids are big into that. I mean, they love like watching other people play video games, and then they go and they figure out how to unlock all the secret levels, and it's honestly kind of fascinating.
Yeah, how I kind of describe it to people, because people are like, "Oh, who just wants to watch you play video games?" Well, you watch sports. You're not playing them, but you're watching them. You're buying tickets for them, but you're not playing it. So it's the same thing. People, instead of sports, it's just video games. People might not want to buy the game, but they still want to see what it is. Or they might have bought the game and they want to get better, so they watch people that, play it all the time, just like sports.
Yeah,
and then people are like, oh, I guess that makes sense. So people pay you. Well, do you buy tickets to a game? Do you buy merch? It's really the same thing. It's just video games.
Yeah, it's the same concept. So tell me a little bit more about how you got into this field.
The real answer is I would come home every day and play video games. My mom said, you play that so much, you should make money off of it.
All right. Well, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, right. So I started watching this person, Covent. He is still a content creator to this day. This man's energy and the way he just does everything in the content creator world is insane. And just after months and honestly probably about a year or so of watching him, I was like, you know what? My mom said make money off of it. I think this is how I'm going to do it. And I just kind of went live to just hang out with friends after work, and then it took off very fast on a site called Mixer. So Mixer is closed down now, and now I'm on Twitch. But back, in 2018, I kind of just went live to see kind of what would happen. Can I make something out of this? And it blew up really fast, so that was really cool. Yeah. Things are a lot more mellow nowadays, but back then it was very, very crazy.
Well, you've accumulated over 13,000 followers on your Twitch stream. You've got, probably 10,000 or more accumulated across your different social media platforms and Instagram and things like that. Was a lot of that just from like that 2018 era, I think, is kind of, and like pre-COVID and stuff is like right before, if you're like a lot of this like online work from home, like turn in the unconventional ways to make money into kind of a more streamlined route. How do you feel like kind of getting into it at that time set you up for, what was kind of to come over the next couple years?
So, funny story. You would think that. However, so as I said, I started actually on Mixer. And I, was doing really well. I actually was like, I have enough to move out for the first time from my mama's basement. I'm going to get my own place. And so, I was doing really well, like financially. So I move out, I, give my old car to my little sister, get my own, new used car. I'm feeling real adult. The first week I move in and, get all these like big kid things, Mixer actually sold to Facebook and I lost everything. So I had to start over on Twitch. So that's where I'm on Twitch now. And it was going pretty good. And then COVID hit. So financially, I actually wasn't doing that great. Views wise, I was doing great, but because of COVID, actually, so my numbers, like people that were watching me were doing well, but people didn't have income. They didn't have jobs. No one was working. So I actually not only had to start everything over, but while I'm trying to rebuild, the world's kind of falling apart. So I made a lot of new friends, and some of those some of those viewers still hang out with me to this day, and like, they're able to support me now, but I actually didn't do good during COVID. I mean, I did, but I didn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I'd love to kind of dig in a little bit more about that moment that you had leading up to that when Mixer closed, and that's like totally just the story, right? You go and you feel like you're secure, and you make these commitments, and you kind of get into the next phase of life. You're like, awesome. I know that happened to me in real estate. I'll never forget when I had a year where, like, I was on my own. I had my own apartment. I was paying my bills. Things were good. And then all of my deals fell apart all at once. And it was like months before I was able to get something back again. And you're just looking around like, I was relying on that.
I really felt like an adult, and then I felt like a kid in a second. I was like, Mom, help.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Walk me through what that experience was like to kind of get through that season of your life, because it's such a common thing.
So it was really actually unexpected for everyone, even like the Mixer staff. I was actually shooting a commercial for Mixer to air. Like, that's how blindsided this deal to Facebook was. Like, even staff members had no idea. Like, that week, I literally was setting up my green screen, doing, like, goofy little dances and little, one-liners and stuff that they were going to put as an ad across things. And then like, a couple days later, they were like, by the way, everything's going to shut down on, I think, July 7th.
Oh, my gosh.
And I literally signed my lease in June. Like, so I was like, I have a whole year lease. And we all know apartments aren't that cheap. That I now have zero income for. I mean, luckily at that time I had a bit of savings, but a year lease that I got to pay out of savings, it only is going to last so long. So it was honestly, it was really tough. It was really a lot of being financially smart and, just paying what's important. There's no fun things that we're going to, go out and be able to purchase and stuff like we planned and everything. So it was a lot of growing up in a very, very short amount of time. I've always been, I've never bought like the fancier things in life, but I felt at that point, I finally could, get that car, get that apartment. Some people might not view that as fancy, but I was really proud of it to be able, to do that on my own, and then have within a week period with seriously like no heads up at all that something could be going down with my job that I've been doing for 3 years now, just gone in an email, or I think it was a Twitter post.
What a scary moment.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, here you are.
Yeah, still doing it. 5, I think we're close to 6 years now on Twitch, so.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks. I love it.
I feel like that's a very, like, a telling just example of, your resiliency and just what you can actually accomplish even in those worst moments, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you are proof of that.
Honestly, I have to give a huge shout out to my community for that, because don't get me wrong, there are so many times where I thought I will never go live again. Like, I'm just going to throw up the towel. I'm either going to go to school or, find a new trade, find another, desk job or something like that. There were so many times where I was like, I could not be doing this anymore. Like, I could be done. But then I think about like those chatters that come in every once in a while being like, hey, I've been having such a bad day. Thank you for being live tonight. And I am going to be here till I'm 80 years old because of people like that. Because I do, speak so highly for mental health because of all the things I've gone through and how I know how that feels. So knowing it kind of like is a good and a bad thing too, though, because I always feel guilty sometimes taking nights off because I just don't want to not be there for someone. But regardless, I'll stream literally until I can't. Until I have to sell my PC, I will be going live for people like that. Like, I've had people that were kids watching me on Mixer that now are telling me they're graduating. And
Aww.
I literally could tear up over it. Like, just being a part of those people's lives. And, like, there's been people on my channel that have met each other and are now married. Like, they met in my stream and now they are married and had their first kid last year. Like, the experiences I've got to experience, like, I will stream forever. It's great.
I love this because I feel like video gaming, it kind of gets a bad rap, right? Like
Absolutely.
everyone says, like, oh, these kids are violent because of the video games. These kids are isolated because of the video games. We, as a society, don't know how to communicate with each other because we're just like looking at our phones and stuck on the screen, and we're addicted to these games, and we're not interacting. And yet, here you are out there utilizing that exact same thing that is supposedly terrible, but you're actually finding the good in that and really using it as a tool to build community.
Yeah, something I like stress to my community so much too is that video games are for fun. Once they start making you angry, do something else. There are so many things in the world that can make you angry. Why are you letting video games be that? Like, video games are supposed to be to relax, to kind of escape from what's going on around us. Like, why are you letting your escape still ruin your day? That makes no sense. And then another thing, especially being a female gamer, there's a lot of choice words that can be said to me, right? And for anyone, honestly. Turn the voice chat off. That is something that I have done almost my entire content creator career, is just turn off the voice chat. I don't need to hear the trash talk. My game is 1,000,000 times more fun when you don't listen to it. You don't have to. Almost 90% of games have a pinging system, so people can tell you, hey, enemy here, weapon here. And I don't understand. I don't understand why people leave it on. Because it's so much more enjoyable and, like, peaceful to just, like, have that stuff turned off and to, just not get mad at a game. Like you said, people think video games cause violence. I'm no scientist. I don't know either or. But there's a lot of steps you can take that make games a little less angry.
Sure. No, I think that's...
And there's a lot of really
great
great peaceful games out there, too, for when you do get angry.
Yeah, right? I know. Go play some... I was going to say Tetris, but I don't know. I feel like people will probably flip a table over that one. Yeah.
There's this really nice game called Palia. It's free. I suggest it to everyone. It's like a cozy little sim, gardening little game. Big fan. It's free on everything. Switch, even. Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll link it in the show notes.
Whenever my like normal games start aggravating me, I'm like, all right, time to go mentally cleanse. We're going to Palia. You can just go fishing or tend to your garden. It's real. It's
like Animal Crossing.
Exactly. Very similar. Very similar.
I love that. So aside from like what we just talked about just the obvious stigma around video gaming in general, what is another thing about just the gaming world that you feel like is misunderstood?
So especially nowadays, we'll use the term rage baiting is very popular, where people will purposely post something to make people angry. I can't stand that. And I think that a lot of people think, oh, she's an influencer, she's a content creator. She obviously, a lot of people probably assume most content creators are rage bait content creators, because that's honestly what's very popular at this time. So I think the stigma of, like, there are people that create content that are genuine and kind, and, like, I even encourage a lot of my family comes and hangs out on my stream, because, like, even if they have zero idea of the game I'm playing, like, I've worked really hard to build a community that just, like, we just love and appreciate each other. Like, you could care less about the game I'm playing. It's about the community in my stream. And there's other content creators like that too, that I don't know what they're playing, but the streamer themselves and their community that they built that I could just, like, chat and hang out with, like, they're just so cool. It's a lot of the times there's, I don't know, like you said, there's like a stigma that there is, that content creators just want attention. But honestly, like, I've worked really hard to just build friends and a family in my streaming career.
Yeah. And was that your intention just from, like, day zero? I mean, obviously you went on it because you thought that you could make some money off of it and, pay your bills and kind of grow up. But at what point there did it come to you that, oh, this is more than just my paycheck? This is actually a way to, like, reach people.
Mm-hmm. So one of the first people that actually stopped at my channel, his name's the Sundog. So obviously that's his streamer name, or his username. Sundog has been with me almost since day one. He just, like, accidentally found my channel and still to this day comes and hangs out every night. But from day one, I was able, I don't know, it was cool that person came and, like, just come, hey, how was your day? How was your day at work? Just, like, I just built like one friend, and next thing you know, it's a couple people. Hey, They would be there for the game, or they'd be there just to hang out with me, and they'd be like, just how was your day? What'd you have for dinner? And, you just start to build these like friendships like you would in real life, except, but now it's people in the UK, it's people in Australia, it's people in Africa, people in Japan. I'm getting to meet people all across the world. And it was just like so cool to me to be able to meet all these people I would never meet. If I never started this, I couldn't say one of my best friends lives in Australia. I've met, people from all across the US that, there's these things called like PAX events and like TwitchCon and stuff that I've been able to, well, I haven't been to a TwitchCon yet, but I've gone to PAX events where then I've got to meet these people in real life and like hang out with them. Like my best friend, Alpha and Mickey, like I love those two so much. They've also been with me for many years now, and I would not have met them without content creation. Like they actually just both came up for the 4th of July, and like we got to hang out and light fireworks and do cookouts together. Like I love those two probably more than most people I've met in real life. And I would never have gotten to have best friends like that if it wasn't for content creation.
It's incredible. So what advice do you have for people out there? Just, you hear this and people want to get into more of a community feel and kind of do this. But there's, of course, like I said, outside of like the streaming stuff, just meeting people online can be, especially for women, can be nerve-wracking, right? Because you never really know all the time, like who's on the other side of on the other side of that. So how do you work around, that and advocate for, safety on the internet and making sure that, people that are engaging online with each other and meeting up eventually maybe are doing it the right way?
Yeah, so I am huge on safety, but I also remind people that unfortunately with how the world is, it's almost impossible to be safe. But there's a lot of steps you can take. With how big I was over on Mixer, and still on Twitch, the amount of good people you come across is fantastic, but there always are the people that come in there just to make your day hell because they had a bad day at home too. And that's what I remind people, that 99% of people that come in and say, the typical hateful things towards me for being a female content creator, or just being a gamer in general, and I don't play to be the best. So they'll come in, trash talk that play was terrible. This is what I do. Absolutely nothing. I pay zero attention to them because all they want is attention. There's something going on in their personal lives and they want to rise out of me and I can't give them the time of the day. And that's what I encourage others is when someone does say something hateful or mean to you, literally they don't exist. And the good thing with the internet is you can block them. You can ignore them. Don't give them even a look, move forward. Now, for the good people that you meet, you still have to be careful. I listen to way too much true crime, all right? Everyone's a suspect and probably forever, okay? But there are still good people. If you are going to, make friends online and you're going to meet them for the first 5 times, be in public, be with someone you trust, be with someone you know. Don't ever give out your personal information, no matter, what it is. I think it was, seriously, until, this year, that I finally actually told my best friend Alpha and Mickey, who I've been friends with for 5 years, my last name, so that they could send me something. And I've been friends with them forever, so I do encourage people to know that they're, make friends online, but also be careful at the same time. Have you ever seen the show MTV Catfish? People are crazy. People are crazy.
Yes, they
and they're
are.
Genius. And they're absolutely genius. So, but I'm glad that, I wasn't completely terrified of everyone. Like I said, I've met some absolutely incredible people. But just be safe. You don't know everyone. You don't know who's behind pictures. You don't know. I've had people actually, I guess I would say, go rogue on me after many years of them being friends. Someone I trusted with a lot of my information because they helped me basically start up my professional streaming career, as of, no longer this is a hobby, this is turning into something. And then out of nowhere, kind of stabbed me in the back. And I was like, I don't want this person in my life anymore, but they know so much about me. So that's something I wish I would have, just been a little bit more careful of in my early stages of career is no matter how much you think you know someone, you still don't know who they're going to be a couple years down the road. And, what they could do and what they could say and stuff like that. So,
yeah, be open, but also, be intuitive and cautious.
Yeah, just be careful. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's good advice. So, I I would love to kind of go back, a ways. You have, been open on social media and stuff just about your experience with mental health and just, your advocacy for that and for, ending self-harm and things like that. I'd love to kind of go into that story and that part of your life and kind of how that shaped where you are now.
Well, break out the tissues because it's not an easy one. I'll save all the brutal details, but I have I had the worst life? No. Have I had an easy one? I personally don't think so. It might be different in other people's eyes, but for me personally, I've not made great decisions. I have not put myself around good people sometimes. I have put a lot of love into people where I think I should have put it elsewhere, kind of thing. And I was in the wrong crowd for a bit. I just didn't love and appreciate myself the way I should have. And I dealt with a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety because of that. It took a lot of growing up, and it took an amazing, amazing woman, Jennifer Kwiatkowski, Arzola Kwiatkowski. She was my English teacher at the time. And she saw me come to school with, a little wrap on my wrist. And she said, "What'd you do?" "Oh, I fell down the stairs." She said, "Show me." I said, "This lady's crazy," And she basically was like, "If you show me today is your last day, you're safe with me." She's like, "I'm," because I would have got arrested or something, because that's what they do when you do stuff like that. Or they would have taken me away, And I still have the journal with the very first date entry that we kept with each other, and November 2nd, 2011, which is actually tattooed on me. That's what these Roman numerals are, and the other Roman numeral you could see obviously in other photos is my little sister's birthday, because she said, "Your sister needs you. There's people in this life that need you." And she's just an absolutely amazing person. Ugh, I can't talk about her.
Oh, shout out to her. I had her in class too.
I love her so much. She's an incredible human, and she also has gone through some just hell and back things, and I don't understand why someone so good could have bad things happen, but it all will make sense eventually, But yeah, she helped me get through the hardest step, and it was just learning that, like, I'm not who I'm playing myself out to be, I was unkind to others and myself, and it took a lot of, like I said, growing up. And, flash forward, I think I'm doing better, and then just honestly in this last year, I had a really, really rough year. I lost my dad. I lost my job. So I was, back to working somewhere, and then, still doing content creation, just not full time. So yeah, I lost my job in December. The day they literally gave me my birthday card the same day I lost my job.
Great.
So I was also leaving to California to my boyfriend's family that next day. So that was just a lot. And then a couple months later, I lost my dad in May. And then so my mom, didn't want to have to, well, she didn't say this, but I didn't want her to have to take care of the house by herself. So then we had to move. So then also I moved at the same, just a couple months later. And through all that transition, the people I thought were like my IRL friends, they have lives too. And like I said, I understand that I definitely wasn't the kindest to them during those times. I was going through a lot, but that's not always an excuse. I've learned a lot, and honestly, like the last 10 years, I feel like I'm a completely different person, and every day I'm learning more,
Yeah.
But yeah, this past year has been a lot, then we moved in and things started breaking in the house. My dad was always the handyman, so I had to become handyman. I got to learn how to use tools and build and stuff, but all these things I've done are because of what Miss K told me and what she taught me of, like, there's no reason to give up. Every day you can learn something new. Every day, if you are a bad I don't say really like a bad person, but if I like said something mean and hurt someone's feelings, apologize, but also learn. So all those little steps have made life easier, and it's become easier for me to understand and work on my mental health and then speak about that to others. Because I think a lot of the times we always say, you hear, "Oh, it's going to get better. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're a great person." But if you don't feel that and you don't see that within yourself, it's so hard to get better. It's so hard to feel better. So that's what I try to remind others is, you will make mistakes. Bad days still will come, but it's how you handle those and how you grow from that. That's how you're going to, I don't want to say beat depression, but at least beat the bad days, you know,
Right.
how you keep going through the bad days. Is just, you know, what happened today? How can you control it? Could you control it? How do we learn from it? How do we grow from it so that next time when this bad day happens, it's just a day. It's no longer a bad day. It's just a day. It might not be a good day, but, you know, it's just a day.
Yeah.
And I speak a lot with that with my stream too, is, you know, like what exactly happened? How could you have controlled it? Could you even control it? You know, like it's okay to feel these feelings about these sort of things, but like, was it something that, you know, you could work on so you can avoid something like this happening again? You know, like, is it, you know, did you say something maybe wrong that you didn't realize and you need to take a step back and be like, I guess I didn't realize it came out that way? Or, you know, or is it something just completely out of control? Like you lost someone in your family, you know, like I just try to, I don't know. I just try to remind people that like I had a lot of really bad days. Like I said, I was definitely not like the star human, but I've worked very, very hard to still be here today. And I want to show others that they can, you know, they can still be here today too. And life is hard. It is. I really feel like I have gotten the unlucky side of the stick here, but I am not going to give up. I'm going to take everything I've learned to make sure other people get to feel this way too, where I'm still so happy that I get to watch my niece play volleyball. You know, I get to watch my sister turn 21 somehow. How is she so old? How can she go to bars? Like, I don't drink anymore, but if I did, I could go to the bar, you know, in our town and she'd be there, you know? Like I get to be here today because I chose to be here today. Through all of the, oh my gosh, what the heck has happened in the last, like, 5-8 years? I still get to be here, though, because of people like Miss K and, you know, me seeing the importance of my sister and being able to take what I've learned and speak to others about it.
Well, I'm glad that you're here for sure.
Thank you.
And
it's been rough, but I'm here.
It sure has. It's been hard out in these streets.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. It is definitely not easy. And, you know, like I have a daughter right now. She's 12. She's in 7th grade.
Crazy.
You know, about to turn 13. And, you know, that I feel like it seems to me like the stuff that we were experiencing when we were like 14, 15 is like what these like 11 and 12-year-olds are going through now. Like social media and like technology and stuff has accelerated that. And it is
terrifying.
It's been, I mean, it's crazy to be, I mean, I went through, you know, a lot of that in high school. I wasn't always, you know, a class A citizen myself, and certainly made some interesting choices and ran with some very interesting people. And, you know,
didn't
like
we both?
I know, like like what you said, like we kind of eventually realized that, you know, everything is a choice. And like my mom, she couldn't control me and what I did. Your mom
Absolutely
couldn't control
not.
you what you did. And me, as my daughter's mom, I can't control what she does. But all we can do is hope that like those right choices get made. And when they do, then awesome. And when they don't, okay, well, what can we do to make the better choice next time? And how can we learn from this situation? And that is like, it's so funny that we're having this interview right now and that you brought that up, because this is literally like the most poignant for just my own, you know, situation and my kids and stuff. Like we were just talking yesterday about buckets and how you have a leaky hose, you know, and it drips a drop of water in the bucket. And is that one drop of water going to matter? No. But over time, if you don't fix that leak, that bucket is eventually, those single drips are going to eventually fill up that whole bucket, and it's gonna flood. And you have to make that choice to address that leaky faucet or put it in a different bucket or do something else. Like you have to make those choices. But it's not always easy, you know, and sometimes it's hard, especially when you're a young adult or a teen or anything like that. Like it's so hard, like you said, if you don't believe that like that other bucket exists, how do you know, how can you put that, how can you move it from one bucket to another if you only think that there's one bucket there? And all you got to do is turn around and say, oh, there's another bucket.
Yeah. But it's also, like you said, but that's a great analogy. It's great to just look, oh, it's just a tiny drip. It's so easy to
Yeah.
just be like, oh, I'm just going to go take a nap. I'm just going to, I'm not going to reply to any of these texts today. It's so easy to just like kind of want to throw away a day. And don't get me wrong. It's great to just, have a bed rotting day every once in a while. But don't let it become that habit. Because after, losing my dad and stuff and moving back in with my mom and stuff, I kind of had a lot of bed rotting days where I kind of gave up, and I finally was like, this is not going to get better. This is not going to get better if I just keep laying here. And that's when I, decided to learn how to build things. So I built my chickens a little roosting bars, and I built a compost bin. So it's good for me, I guess. It's so yeah, I just want to be the Jane of all trades, I guess.
Yes, we need more Janes of all trades. I just love the fact that you had the agency to look at yourself and look at your situation and recognize, like, no, I don't want to just lay here and rot in bed for the rest of my life. Like, like, is that what my dad would like want of me?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, he's not here anymore and I am. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so brave of you to really take that step and do that. And to take that pain and to transform it into a skill that is super important and usable and relevant right now, and to use that to give back and support is the coolest thing ever. And I love that you mentioned it, because I was going to ask you about your little farm stand that you built.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess I also built that. That's my biggest project I've done.
I love it. We're going to here's insert photo here for the edits. But no, tell me about how you went from like, I don't know how to, hammer a nail to I'm building these things.
Listen, I don't know how to just do one thing at a time, apparently. Okay, so I know, a good transition is going from there to there, because like I said, I got to, because I don't have enough things to do every day. Something that makes me that I found over my years of managing my mental health was being productive. Honestly, makes my day better. Whether it's just picking up my room, whether it's just going outside and cleaning up the yard a bit, whether it's cooking dinner for my mom, doing at least one productive thing, even if it's just like getting rid of my recycling bin on my PC. One tiny little productive thing stops me from spiraling. And I decided I want to learn how to build things. Okay, so like I said, I started my little roosting bars, which were like just like scrap wood that my chickens can sit on. And then I was like, I'm going to learn how to build a box. So I built a little compost bin. And then I said, I'm going to build a whole farm stand. And honestly, I built most of it myself. I really did. It wasn't until like we got to like the roof where it was like too tall for me to reach that I needed to like tag in my boyfriend and my brother-in-law. But I did a really good job of doing that myself. Is it polished perfect? Is it the prettiest thing? No, but I did it.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm so freaking proud of it. And then I thought, okay, well, what am I going to put on this? Because
like, I've never thing.
So I love to cook, right? But I've only baked a handful of times, and the Indiana cottage laws are fun. What you can and can't put out there. So it's like, okay, well, I have plenty of garden vegetables, but like I'm gonna make some cookies, and oh my gosh, I know it sounds so goofy because I made cookies before, but I messed them up the first 3 times. And I was like, maybe this ain't for me. But now I think my cookie recipe is down. I think it's delicious. Yes. And so recently now I'm kind of learning how to make like yeast breads and stuff like that. So like sandwich breads. I tried the whole sourdough thing twice now, and I just maybe next summer I'll put that on my to-do list to learn. But yeah, I've learned how to make different breads and like brownies from scratch, and it's so rewarding too, because I'm not like I'm not real big like whole anti-chemicals, dyes and stuff like that. Like if you are, good for you. I can't afford that, but it is nice to be able to make my own bread from scratch because it is so good. Like making cookies from just like my own eggs that I got from my garden, like it'd be great if I could have all the ingredients from me, but just being able to like have like a real cookie, I would call it, compared to, like a Chips Ahoy or something. Don't get me wrong, I still love my Chips Ahoy and my Oreos, but just to like have a I don't know, simple ingredient cookie or bread or brownie, like it's just good. It's just rewarding and stuff. And it's been cool to be able to offer that to the community as well, because not everyone wants all those extra things in their food. I feel like there are a lot of questionable things that are put in our food and preservatives and stuff like that. So being able to offer, a fresh loaf of bread or fresh cookies, like it feels nice. And no, honestly, no, nothing really inspired me to start the farm stand. I just decided one day I want one. I want one, and I'm going to do it.
That's incredible.
It's almost sometimes... I love my dad, okay? It's almost been a little bit spiteful sometimes because I know he would have told me no.
Yeah.
But now I have my own tools. Well, I have his tools.
You're like,
and some of my own that I purchased. But I know he would have been like, no way, I don't want to move that when I mow. He's not wrong. It's a headache. But
it's your headache.
Mm-hmm. Look at me learning. I know he would have been so proud of me. He would have been like, what are you doing? Get out of my garage at the same time. But like, it is just, I don't know. It was just one of those, I just woke up one day and I wanted it, and I knew that if I wanted it, no one else was going to want to help me do it, so I had to do it myself and learn.
So do you sell anything, or do you do donation based, or do people just
I sell cookies. I usually do like a 5-pack of cookies, a couple different like bread loaves or like focaccia breads. Like I said, I've done brownies. I do, oh my gosh, I make those little German roasted nuts, like the candied like pecans and stuff that you'd get like at the fair. Delicious. I make those. I've done some puppy chow recently. I don't know if I said the chocolate dip pretzels. I made these like pumpkin whoopie pies, so kind of think of like a oatmeal pie, like cream pie, but like with pumpkin cookies instead. Those were really good. But yeah, a little bit of everything. Honestly, I just kind of think like, what do I want? And then I make it for everyone else.
It's awesome. I think that's great to just have something like fresh and accessible, and it's not bougie. It's not like you mentioned, it's expensive and tough to continuously live like a chemical-free lifestyle. Like I try, I mean, as much as I can. We've definitely got like ramen in the cabinet right now, and you know, ice cream in the freezer. Like there's definitely some red dye 40 in this home.
Yeah,
but,
same.
Like reduce as much as we can, and like it's funny you mentioned that.
Just be more mindful. If there is a better option I can have, like, then I'll make it.
Well,
I mean, technically,
if you're spending, $5-6 on a loaf of bread at the grocery store, or $5-6 on a loaf of bread made by somebody down the road, that's the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Europe over the summer, that's all it is. It's
I know.
every neighborhood in Paris, every block, every couple blocks, it's a different neighborhood, and they've got their little boulangerie and their fromagerie and their little like patisserie, and everybody's got their thing, and you can like taste it that they're just
I could only imagine.
Be
so good.
It's so fresh. Everything is so fresh. The American like food system is so whack. I mean, that's like a whole other podcast about just that, and just the chain. And I think really, like, going back to the whole concept of community, food is community, and it's a way to connect people. And so the fact that you're able to, it's such a cool kind of like full circle thing. You're like on the internet and you're making connections and building community there, but you're also using your farm stand to build community in real life as well. Yeah. And I have tried to do like if things don't sell out, like I'll try to do like discounted or like pay what you can days for, families that might not be able to afford, like $5 for 5 cookies. Like I get it. I would only be able to afford it on paydays, and maybe not towards the end of the week. But, so I do try to do, like, discount days and stuff. And if I made enough, actually, I have a little surprise for something I'm about to talk about. If I made enough, I would like to take it to, like, Hilltop and stuff like that. But speaking of Hilltop, I actually just did my 7th, 8th, 9th year of raising money for Hilltop. Yes, you beat me to it.
Yes, and we crushed the goal. But yeah, we'll save it for when you bring it up then, and I'll talk more about it. But, I would like to, if I made more, like, donated and stuff. But for now, as I just kind of make small batches, as I'm building my clientele for my farm stand and stuff, I just do, like, the discounted days.
Anybody that's local to our region, definitely check it out. And if you're not local, I can guarantee there's somebody wherever you are in your neighborhood that has an equivalent. And, if you think about it, you
support your local dealers.
Absolutely.
Your farm stand dealers, your plant dealers.
My egg dealer.
Your egg dealers, yes.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So, yes, tell me all about Hilltop House. For those that do not know what Hilltop House is, they're a local community organization that has daycare, that has a soup kitchen, that runs a food pantry, that is an advocate for, all things support for the entire community as a whole, but really focusing on families in need. And they do all kinds of amazing things in the community. So, Megan, what is it that you are doing with them and for them, and why?
So we do something with my stream every year. We've been doing it since, I think, honestly, probably since I started streaming in 2018. Christmas time was coming around. And back then, I feel like Hilltop wasn't as well known. So that's kind of why I wanted to work with them, because I know how amazing they are for the community. So this was so crazy. We bought a Christmas gift for every child there. We had them fill out a wish list, and I went out shopping with my little sister, and we bought like 100 Christmas gifts and wrapped every single one of them. Oh my gosh, my wrapping skills in The Sims would have went up like 2 skill levels. Like, it was a lot of work, but oh my gosh, was it so fun. And I was so happy to see how many kids wanted like sports equipment or like coloring, like art supplies, or it was also kind of sad because some just asked for like coats and gloves, but it was awesome that we were able to do something like that. We did that for like 2 or 3 years where we had the kids fill out Christmas gifts, and then COVID hit, so we had to switch over to gift cards. But still, the gift cards were nice, especially for like the babies that are at Hilltop, because it was able to get used for like formula or diapers and stuff like that, that's something I wouldn't have purchased because I don't have a child, so I don't really know like what the best baby formula is, or diapers, or little kid stuff. And then last year, Hilltop opened their food pantry, so I thought, let's switch it up a little bit. And they do, like meals for families. So we sponsored an entire meal one day, or for like a day coming, during the holiday season. So just knowing that we were able to, feed a lot of families was incredible. So we did it. I actually, truthfully, was going to switch it up this year from Hilltop. I was thinking of almost breaking up with them because I really wanted to do something. Not that I don't love Hilltop, but I wanted to do something for animals this year. But then the whole EBT thing happened, and I was like, we're making sure everyone has a hot meal for the holidays, because that is a must. At least a warm meal with your family on the holidays, the least that should happen on, those sort of days. So we started our Hilltop charity again. And in 5 days, not only did we hit the goal of, for sponsoring a meal, but I did a little stretch goal of 1,000. And with that extra 250, I'm going to buy as much stuff that I can to make as many cookies for the staff and volunteers there. So, oh my gosh, keep me in your thoughts. Yes. Because I don't know how much I can get technically with $250, but I know I can make a lot of freaking cookies, so...
Yeah, I would say, a bag of flour, you can make probably 100 cookies with, a bag of flour. Yeah. That's what, like $8?
Yeah, so, except, honestly, chocolate chips are so much more expensive than you think they are.
Really?
They're like $5 a bag, and I can get about 20 cookies out of that. So
$5 a bag for the chips? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
As you can tell,
and that's like the not name brand. Yeah, and that's like not the name brand either.
Wow.
So yeah, it's expensive for chocolate. And oil and eggs and all that kind of stuff too is also real expensive. So the flour luckily is cheap, but it's
right.
If I had enough chickens, I could use my own eggs for that, but I will not have enough.
No, not
my chickens would be run dry.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am curious to know what the total cookie count ends up being.
Yes. I'm just going to literally make as much as I can. So they haven't given me the exact date yet, but it's going to be in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would assume.
Okay, cool. So this episode should air like after Thanksgiving. So
awesome.
We'll put it out there right now. What is your guess for the top, total number of cookies? Wherever you're seeing this, put it in, send us a message, give us your guess, and I don't know, you're not going to win anything.
Maybe you'll get a free, whoever's the closest, come get a free 5-pack cookie from me at my farm stand on me.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. And if you can guess the amount of cookies closest without going over, this is for Price is Right style. So if it's 500 cookies is your guess and you guess 505, I'm sorry, but no, you lose. You went over. So...
and they're about 1 ounce cookies.
1 ounce cookies.
About 1 ounce cookies, give or take. Sometimes they're a little over, but that's all right. Okay. They just got a little extra chocolate.
And you got $250, you said, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like...
I have no idea. I just know we're going to be in the kitchen all day.
I feel like just like that number 500 just like speaks to me. So I don't know.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah, we're going to see.
500 cookies.
I'll go 505.
Okay. Oh, man. This is a Price is Right style. Wow. All right.
You said it. You said the rules. I'm just following.
All right, Bob Barker. Here we are. Price is Right for the cookies. That's funny. Well, I think one of the things that I learned years and years and years ago, I mean, I've always been a very service-focused person, just like helping people out and making the world a better place. And I know you identify with that too as well. But something I learned years ago was someone said, I don't remember who said it or where I heard it or whatever, but they said, if you're ever having a bad day, go be of service to somebody else and you can guarantee that that bad day will not be bad for you anymore. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly think, truthfully, something that I've worked on a lot and then still working on is in terms of like, growing up and just having, being a better person, but also mentally feeling a better person, is learning to put yourself in other people's shoes. Even if you had the worst day ever, still putting yourself in someone else's perspective really changes things. And I feel like that's one of the biggest steps of growth I've made in the past year, is understanding that, like, when I was going through that loss of my dad and my job and moving, I know I wasn't the nicest person. I know I was pretty selfish a little bit, honestly. I mean, once again, a lot of people would say, oh, you have reasons to, but I didn't want to be that way. That's not who I am. So just being able to be like, I don't understand why these people are like, not talking to me. Why are they not hanging out with me? Why are they not like, wanting to spend time with me? I just lost my dad, like all this kind of stuff. But it's because of kind of how I was. I have to put myself in their shoes and be like, I mean, I still kind of would have been there for me, but whatever. But like just putting yourself in someone else's shoes and being able to see, they're going through stuff too. They could be having a bad day also. Like, it's not always about yourself. Sometimes, when you're wallowing in depression and having bad days and all that kind of stuff, it's easy to be selfish and woe is me and pay attention to me, love me, appreciate me, I'm having a bad day, when you really need to sometimes understand other people are going through that too. And it could be worse. It could always be worse. It could always be better too. So I don't like to make everyone focus on the negatives. Oh, it could always be worse. Yeah, but that doesn't make you not credible. That doesn't make your feelings not valid.
Right. Yeah. I mean, your feelings are valid always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But don't let it control you and consume you in that way.
Yeah.
Because if, like whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. And that, that same thing kind of is true in that instance as well. And I think that, yeah, I mean, if you're feeling like things couldn't possibly be any worse for you, then go out and volunteer, at the overnight warming shelter.
Yeah,
in your
absolutely.
Community. I mean, and that'll put it into perspective.
Yeah,
like, go
absolutely.
And, work at an animal shelter for a couple of hours. That'll change your perspective real quick.
Absolutely.
I mean, but also look for inspiration. Look at people like you, Megan, who, you've been through the trenches and you came out on the other side, and you are doing better than some people right now. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that are doing better than you and all of that. But, and the same thing is true, that anybody can look at you and say, you know what? She went through it. It's a different experience than me, but she went through it and she's on the other side. And that's, that inspiration matters, because someone will always have it better and someone will always have it worse. Mm-hmm. And it is important to look at both of those, even though it is hard. And sometimes you do just want to, have a pity party.
Yeah. No, and that's what I tell people, too, because I feel like a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to get better and it's going to be better. No, bad days happen. They're still going to happen, but it's take what you've gone through to learn how to manage that bad day better so that it's not the worst day of your life, I mean, I've had really bad days, honestly, recently, and I've took 500 steps back. But that next day, I chose to take 501 steps forward. So that's what I try to encourage a lot of people that, especially in my streaming community, they'll come out and, talk to me. Oh my God, this is just the worst day of my life. I don't know what to do. That's okay. You can have a sad day, but I don't want you to have a sad week, a sad month. Take time to address your feelings. It's okay to feel the way you feel, but don't let that completely become who you are. Don't let it take over your life. Learn what you can from the situation and try to grow from it, or try to avoid the situation, or try to change the situation how you can. Like, the world is in everyone's hands, individually. You really can do what you want to do.
We're all a bunch of Sims at the end of the day.
Exactly. Like, if you want to go out and learn how to build a farm stand, who's stopping you?
There you go.
If you want to just sit in bed all day, I mean, you can too. Maybe some days you need it, but don't let it be every day. Something that I always tell, like, my community when they feel, stuck, when they just feel stuck and they just have no motivation and they just, they're just done, is just make your bed every morning. Just start there. Make a habit out of making your bed every morning. Because I personally love coming home and, well, not coming home, I don't know where I'm going, getting off of streaming or work or whatever it may be, and then my bed's just made. Like, it just feels nice to lay in a bed that's made. And you don't gotta tuck your sheets in. You don't have to fluff your pillows. Just make your bed. Make it look comfy, make it look nice. And then once you get in that habit of that, pick up 5 things every day. It doesn't have to be, everything. Even if it's just 5 different pieces of clothing in your depression pile of clothing, pick up 5 pieces. For me, it's always my desk. I probably got, my snacks from last night, an empty water bottle. I pick up a few things off my desk and usually some cat toys off the floor. And you just build those habits, and those habits turn into better days in the long run. It stops you from just being sad all day. It makes you at least do one little thing to make your day better.
It's in a bucket.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, this has been a really great, very well-rounded, fascinating conversation. I think there's so much good that people can get out of this. And so I really, really appreciate, your time, your vulnerability about, I know it's not always the easiest to open up, in public about things that, are emotional and tough to deal with. And, I just got to say, I'm grateful that, we were able to share space and time today to be able to do that. And I hope that it proved to be, helpful and healing to you, and
Absolutely.
helpful and healing to anybody that was listening. So, just take it from us, two used to be mean girls that are out there righting the wrongs of the world and just trying to make things better for ourselves and for you. So you can do it.
And another thing I do want to point out for anyone that, feels like maybe they fit in the shoes of, I made a lot of mistakes as a kid. You're not always going to get forgiveness from everyone, and that's okay.
Yes.
That was a big hurdle that I had to get over this year is, I felt like I was doing so much better. Like I said, I stopped, drinking hard liquor. I still have a White Claw every now and again, but no more than 3. Like, and that's, I get a family of, sorry, we have a special guest.
Hello, kitty. Special guest featuring the kitty.
Yeah, is understand that it's important to apologize for yourself, but it's okay too that people may not be ready for that. That one's probably one of the hardest pills to swallow, is understanding you're not always going to get forgiveness from people, but it is important to at least try and then do your best out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, and if you feel like you're struggling with getting forgiveness, take a look at yourself. Have you forgiven yourself yet? And if you haven't, why is that? Dig into that, and don't take that guilt and use it to spiral. Like, take that and see, like, okay, be honest with yourself. I mean, just, it's not a fun thing to do, but to look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, like, here's where I can make a change, and then make that change, and you'd be surprised what can come of that.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Yes,
your feelings are valid. We want you here. We're grateful to have you here. And, if you feel like you're struggling, I've going to put some resources down as well.
And also, I'm always happy to talk about it, whether you want to come in my stream and just be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. Or if you want to come and hang out in my DMs or something, like, I will always be there for you. And everything you talk about is safe with me, as long as I don't think you're going to harm yourself. Then that's got to, harm yourself or others. Then that's when some other things, got to be legally taken care of. But it's always a judgment-free zone. I've talked about it on the stream on this interview, that I have not had the best life, and I have not made the best choices, but I'm doing the most I can to make the best out of it. So judgment-free zone, safe place all the way through. If you ever need someone, I'm always here, and I have an amazing set of fantastic community members too, that if maybe you're not comfortable talking to me because maybe you know who I am, I've got some great people on my channel that have kept me level-headed for 8 years now.
There you go. And where can they find you?
Twitch.tv/A1000Years. I'm
There
also
it
on
is.
YouTube. I also stream on a site called Kick, and I also stream on Twitter/X, but Twitch is my main platform.
Excellent. Okay, well, you heard it here, everyone. Go follow 1,000 Years on Twitch and on YouTube. We'll be linked down here and Kick, and, go out there and do something good for your community and do something good for yourself.
Absolutely.
So thank you for setting a great example for our community and, leading from the front. I'm
Thank
really
you.
grateful to know you.
I'm grateful to know you. It's awesome to see where we are today, that we were able to be who we are and do the things that we're able to do.
And if you would have asked us like 15 years ago, I
wouldn't
would
be
have
here.
laughed in my own face. I would have been like, "Girl, no, that ain't me."
Yeah. I was pretty dead set I wasn't going to make it past high school, so very happy that somehow 11 years later, 10 years going on 11 years, I am still here. Which is great, but how is that long?
And here's to 60 more.
Yeah.
Just getting
Absolutely.
started.